Gallagher is a character that is a pretty simple and straightforward kit, but holds some great potential, and that is what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to analyze his whole kit with his Eidolons and discuss some build options, and see if it's actually worth building. So without further ado, let's talk about Gallagher. As I said earlier, there isn't anything super complex in his kit. He's a fire abundance character with pretty much average stats, which is kinda expected from a 4-star, low attack, low HP and defense, and low speed, with a 110 energy cost ultimate. His basic attack has two types. There is the normal one, which deals fire damage to a single target, and then there is an enhanced one, which deals increased fire damage and reduces the target enemy's attack for 2 turns. Both are single target attack. His enhanced basic attack can be achieved through his ultimate, but let's talk about his skill first. His skill is a single target heal, and the amount of healing is fixed, which can only be increased through levels and outgoing healing boost. Now this is both good and bad. Bad because you can't really increase the amount through stats except healing boost, and since he's only available as a main stat, he pretty much needs to be max leveled. And good, since his heal doesn't scale with any types of stats, you can be versatile with his builds. Now for his ultimate, it's an AoE attack that inflicts Besotted on all enemies for 2 turns and deals fire damage to them. Also, it enhances Gallagher's next basic attack. Pretty simple, but what is this Besotted state? Well, that is in his talent. The Besotted state increases the break damage that the target receives. Also, every time an ally hits a target under the Besotted state, they heal themselves by a fixed amount. And since his ultimate inflicts Besotted to all enemies, this is pretty much like Luocha's field but single target. Lastly, his technique. He immediately attacks the enemy, dealing fire damage to them, and inflicts Besotted to all enemies upon entering battle, lasting for 2 turns. Now for his passive abilities, his first passive increases his outgoing healing boost based on his break effect, up to a maximum of 75%, which is actually pretty huge, and this is the only stat that can actually affect his healing. Also, since you are not really focusing on getting HP, aiming for a high break effect stat is easily achievable. To max out this passive, you need to build about 150% break effect on Gallagher. His second passive immediately advances his action forward by 100% after he uses his ultimate, which is basically an extra turn, so like you can combo his ultimate to his enhanced basic attack. And also, since his ultimate can be used out of turn, you could say he can actually get some out of turn attacks, like how Jingliu gets when she gains 2 stacks. Lastly, her third passive makes it so that when Gallagher uses his enhanced basic attack on enemies that are in the Besotted state, the HP restore effect of his talent for this attack will be applied to all allies. It's pretty much same as Luocha's field. Finally, for his stat bonuses, he gets quite an amount of effect res, a bit of break effect, and some HP. Overall, I'd say his kit is pretty much on the decent to good range. It's nothing exceptional, but given how you build him, his value will increase. I think his passives are really good. Every single one of them adds quite a lot of value to his kit, especially the healing boost one and the action forward one. By the way, if you have reached to this point of the video and like what you are watching, consider subscribing to the channel, as it does help this channel grow and motivates me to make more content for you guys. Now let's look at his Eidolons, as they do provide a lot to his kit. His E1 gives him 20 energy when he enters the battle, and his effect res is increased by 50%, which is huge, as he already gets close to 30% effect res from his bonus stat. With this, he gets like 80% effect res just from his kit alone, and with some substats here and there, he can easily reach 100% effect res, and at that point, you might as well never get CC'd. His E2 allows his skill to cleanse 1 debuff from an ally, and also increases the effect res of that ally by 30% for 2 turns. This is also a really good upgrade for him, and I think at this point, he starts to become pretty competitive with other 4-star healers like Lynx. His E3 and E5 are just level ups for his traces, which does come in handy as his healing is a fixed amount, so levels are much more important to him. His E4 increases the duration of his ultimate's Besotted state by 1 turn. This makes it last 3 turns, which lessens the downtime of his ultimate. And lastly, Gallagher's E6 increases his break effect by 20% and weakness break efficiency by 20%, a straight up buff. This is by far his best Eidolon in terms of value. Well, it is his E6. It not only lowers the gear requirement with some extra break effect, but also with break efficiency, he gets to break the enemy much faster. Earlier, I would only really recommend going with a full break effect build if you already have Ruan Mei, as break effect is only really valuable if you can break the enemy constantly, and Ruan Mei does allow that, but with this, he doesn't have to rely on her. Overall, I think his Eidolons are a great upgrade for his kit. Personally, I would only really recommend pumping resources into him if you at least have his E2, as it does gives him cleanse, which is super helpful and pretty much necessary in difficult content. And if you can manage to get his E6, well then, you can do as you like. Now for his build, how do we build this guy? Well, since he doesn't particularly need any kind of stat, other than break effect to maximize his passive, a speedy break build will be the best on him. So for that, there are two options for his relic sets. Personally, I recommend a 2-piece combo set of the messenger set for the 6% speed and either HP percentage or healing bonus set. Both can work. HP will make him more bulky and healing boost will increase his healing output. As a speedy break build, the two that you want to aim for is break effect and speed. I recommend aiming for at least 134 speed, cause at the very least you want to make sure he moves with your DPS so that he can generate skill points for the team. As such, I think the 2-piece speed is very helpful, but if you are struggling to reach high break effect on him, then the 4-piece thief set can help with that. It does provide extra break effect and some energy, which are both really beneficial for Gallagher. You just have to make sure that you get some speed from the substats. He particularly doesn't need the speed set, as 6% speed for Gallagher is like 6 extra speed. So if you can get that extra 6 speed from the substats, like this piece I got yesterday, pretty good, huh? It's currently the piece with the highest speed stat I've ever rolled. Anyways, we're getting off topic. Both set combos are great. It's all about substat rolls. Like if you take the speed set, then you want break effect on the substats. And if you take the thief set, then you want speed on the substats. For his ornaments, there is just no questions here. The broken keel is going to be the best and the most worth it set in terms of both farming and value. Some of you might be thinking about Thalia, but I don't recommend it. The keel is just better in all aspects. As for relic stats, you want to go with a healing boost body, a speed boot, an HP or defense sphere, and a break effect rope. You can try to go with an ERR rope, but you will lose out on break effect, which he does really need. As for his Lightcones, let's not talk about the 5 stars. I don't think anyone here actually pulled for a 5-star abundance Lightcone. And if you actually did pull any, then you're probably using it on its preferred character. So for 4-star options, you can pretty much use any of these Lightcones and it would work. He's not really picky about stats, so anything goes. Among these, the 3 that stand out the most are Post of Conversation for the extra energy recharge and some healing boost, the event Lightcone Hey Over There, which is just a general great Lightcone providing some extra bulk and healing boost, and lastly my personal favorite, the MOC Shops Lightcone, What is Real. This Lightcone is totally free and at max superimposition level, it gives 48% break effect and some extra self-healing through basic attacks. It's perfect for Gallagher. Hell, the art in this Lightcone also has Gallagher in it. It not only lowers the stat requirements for Gallagher, but also heals him so that he can just focus on his allies. Here's a simple reference build. I'm using an S5 MOC Lightcone with the usual mid-roll substats. Now looking at this, you guys might be thinking these stats are unachievable for everyday players. But trust me, you can easily achieve these stats, at least close to this. The only thing you need to focus on are speed and effect res. Like if you're using the MOC Shops Lightcone at S5, which you can get for free, that's a 48% break effect right there. Combining with the break effect rope and his bonus stats, and you're already above 100%. And you only need 150% break effect to maximize the passive. And you get 75% healing boost. For effect res also, he gets 28% from his bonus stats, and with the broken keel set, that's close to 40% already. With some substats, you can easily reach quite high effect res on Gallagher. And this becomes even easier with his E1, which gives 50% effect res. The only thing to look for is some speed, and you're all set. The healing he provides is pretty much enough. Just balance out the HP and defense as per your liking, as his healing does not rely on any kind of stats, except for his Lightcone self-heal, which does takes max HP. For his rotations as well, it's nothing complicated. Since there is no buffs tied to his skill, you can just use it whenever you need to, and you'll mostly get a 3 to 4 turn ultimate, with like a 1 to 2 turn downtime, which is not bad, and if you have his E4, then you get mostly 1 turn of downtime, which is a lot better. Overall, I think Gallagher is an extremely F2P friendly and easy to build character, and for newer players, he can be a really good support. The amount of stats he gets from his passives and Eidolons is crazy, and if you're lacking a premier defensive support in your account, then Gallagher can be a great substitute until you get a 5-star. And that's gonna be it for my thoughts on Gallagher's current kit. At first glance, his kit seemed really underwhelming, barely any text. I think we are too accustomed to seeing large paragraphs of text, but regardless, he's a pretty damn good character. Do let me know what you guys think about this guy, and if you'll be building him in your account. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.